Islam, Islam, Islamism. Bismillah, ar-Rahman, ar-Rahim. First and foremost, I like to rise to my highest of heights and give all perfect praise to our Father God Allah, acknowledging our ancestors, known and unknown, recognizing and naming all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and the last prophet in these days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Jew Ali, in his first, second, and third form. I would like to remain standing and extend those honors to our National Grand Sheikh, Joel Bratton Bey, all national officials at headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland, all sheiks, sheikesses, deputy sheiks, and deputy sheikesses, and all of our friends, visitors, guests, citizens, members, students, children. I greet you all with Islam. Today's date for the record is March 6, 2022, according to the Gregorian calendar. And as always, on the onset of our calls, we pay homage to our Mother, Father, God, Allah. So can I please have everyone who is able to stand erect, facing towards the east, heels together, toes apart, separated at a 45-degree angle, upper arms parallel to the floor, forearms perpendicular, 5 fingers erect and together on the left, and 2 fingers erect and together on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. We'd like to welcome you all to our National Town Hall Educational Forum call, being brought to you by the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, under the guidance and direction of our National Grand Sheikh, Joel Bratton Bey. I am the moderator for this evening's call. I am Deputy Sheikh Cornelius Sanders Bey, calling out of Lake County, Florida Republic. And I will be going into our administrative announcements. Our first administrative announcement will be given by myself. On behalf of the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, I would like to thank the guests that are on this Moorish National Town Hall meeting for joining us this evening. Our prophet Noble Jew Ali founded the ancient Canaanite temple in 1913 in Essex County, New Jersey. Later, in 1916, his missionary work was entitled the Moorish Divine and National Movement. In 1917, he transferred the movement to Cook County, Illinois. In 1925, the temple was called the Moorish Temple of Science. In 1926, the temple was incorporated as a civic organization. In 1927, the temple was unofficially adopted as the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. Our prophet Noble Jew Ali stated that the Negro problem is being solved only as it can, and that is by the Moorish Divine and National Movement. If you have a nation, you must have a free national name in order to be recognized by this nation as an American citizen. After lawfully connecting with the private international law of the Pan American Conference in 1928, the temple's name was changed to the Moorish Science Temple of America. The temple was then incorporated as a religious organization under the Illinois Revised Statutes in Cook County, giving the temple and its members national and international power. During this same period of time, unfaithful members of the Moorish Science Temple of America in Chicago and Detroit conspired to destroy the positive existence of the movement, causing great confusion. This is the reason for the misunderstanding of the national side of the movement amongst all Moorish Americans until this very day. Our prophet Noble Jew Ali stated that Chicago is doomed and Detroit must go down for what they did to I, your prophet. Afterwards, in 1929, our prophet Noble Jew Ali made his transition to the plane of soul. Our purpose of establishing this meeting on Sundays is to properly educate people on what the Negro problem really is and to educate people concerning the national side of the movement of our prophet Noble Jew Ali, so that you may receive a clear understanding of it. Our Prophet Noble Jew Ali also stated, "Come all ye Asiatics of America and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, because you are not negroes." In other words, all calling themselves negroes, black people, color folk, Afro-American, Latino, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, or any other such names that delude to slavery, you are not these. Your nationality has been taken away from you, and your birthrights have been stolen from you by way of your original birth certificate, social security card, and your state ID/driver's license, which is why clear color copies, both front and back from these, is required from you when applying for Moorish American citizenship, as you transform from your lower self to your higher self while working towards your actual freedom and becoming free national Moorish American citizens. You have ignorantly contracted into the jurisdiction of the federal U.S. government corporation. Thus, your nationality is United States. You have surrendered your free national state citizenship by registering yourself voluntarily as a beneficiary of the U.S. government corporation by way of your birth certificate, which is an unrevealed trust account instrument placing you in commerce with the federal U.S. Federal U.S. citizens are not citizens at all. They are subjects and property under the District of Columbia, residents and franchisees of the so-called bankrupt U.S. government corporation under municipal law. The Constitution for the U.S.A., the Bill of Rights, and the 13th Amendment with its 20 sections does not apply to federal U.S. citizens. Federal U.S. citizens are subjects and property under statutory, admiralty, and maritime law, as well as martial law under the undisclosed presumption of an international contract. Federal U.S. citizens have no constitutional protections or unalienable rights. They only have granted privileges by the U.S. government corporation. Legal persons born or naturalized in the federal U.S. were made exclusively by the 14th Amendment after the Civil War. The 14th Amendment was never lawfully ratified and therefore unconstitutional. Our Prophet Noble Jew Ali held up the red flag with the 5-pointed green star in the center in his right hand. This is our national flag. It is poorly misunderstood as the flag of Morocco. It is properly comprehended as the Moorish flag. He also held up the 48-star flag of the U.S.A. in his left hand. This is our flag of peace, friendship, and commerce within the states of the Union under the Republican form of government in this country. The 50-star flag of the U.S. with gold fringes around it does not represent free national Moorish American citizens. Social Security benefits and the income tax are voluntary contracts made mandatory for federal government employees and U.S. citizens who receive benefits from the federal government corporation. Asiatics are the Aboriginal indigenous inhabitants of America. However, due to the fact that the Asiatics' birthrights have been stolen and we have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government, being placed in the chattel property status because of the reorganization of the U.S. with the New Deal in 1933, the Asiatics are now aliens, not to this country, but to all free national governments. We encourage everyone to become a naturalized Moor and register with the Moorish National Bureau of Vital Statistics in order to become part and parcel of this free national government. In this way, you are under the divine authority of our Honorable Prophet Noble Jew Ali, being under the jurisdiction of the Emancipation Proclamations of President Abraham Lincoln, inclusive of the 13th Amendment with its 20 sections, and not under federal jurisdiction, making your identity and your nationality Moorish American. The bankruptcy of the United States is a fraud. The Uniform Commercial Code administers this fraudulent bankruptcy. So those who undergo the UCC-1 financing statement and its further paperwork applications become a party to this fraud and disconnect themselves from the divine authority of our Honorable Prophet Noble Jew Ali, which is the conspiracy of the international banking cartel against us Moorish Americans. Also, having a seat in the United Nations is a trap. This places you under the controls of the cartels of Europe as well. Furthermore, a government that is a democracy is a trick, because this type of government is not of the common people, for the common people, nor by the common people. Educating the masses on these issues in order for the Asiatics to become functionally active is of the utmost importance for the progress and growth of the Moorish Divine and National Movement. For more information, visit our website, www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. During this meeting, we would like our guests to remain muted if you are not speaking. This will prevent background noise coming from you, as these calls are being recorded. When you want to speak, press the star button twice to unmute your phone and state your name and where you are calling from. You may submit your questions to our email, townhall@moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. So your questions will be answered in the order in which they are received, as the email questions supersede direct questions from the audience. We would like our guests to continue to attend these meetings, and please invite your family members, associates, and friends to attend these meetings. And that concludes our first administrative announcement. Our next administrative announcement will be coming by way of our Deputy Sheikess, Ariana Sanders Bay. Islam, beloved, you can press star, and you have the floor.
Islam.
Islam, we got you loud and clear. You have the floor.
Islam, this is Deputy Sheikess, Sister Ariana Sanders Bay, calling from the Florida Republic. First, I would like to rise to my highest height, giving all perfect praise to our Mother, Father, God, Allah, and giving honor to all the true and divine prophets, namely Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, Confucius, and the last prophet in these days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Drew Ali, in his first, second, and third form. I would like to remain standing and extend those honors to our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bay, all national officials at headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland, all chiefs, chiefesses, deputy chiefesses, and to all that are on the call. Islam. The Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, expects the presence of all members and invites the public to join us every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for a Moorish Sunday class conference call. Please join us by calling 443-961-4434. All Moors currently naturalized to the Moorish American National Republic and who have not already done so are requested to forward an email to manrsundayschool@gmail.com. This will confirm your registration and allow you to receive your information packet. Please include the names of all children, their ages, birthdays, and school grades. Also, we are requesting that members send us family pictures for posting on our website. Pictures of Moorish families studying, playing, working, etc., and in unity. This is highly desirable. Please be advised that submission of your photo constitutes your permission to post. To submit your photo, send via email to sundayschool@moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. Again, the Moorish American National Republic Sunday School conference call is at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we invite the public to please join us by calling 443-961-4434. We had a divine and fantastic class today. You can listen to today's class at www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. We look forward to exercising our five senses together with you, manifesting guidance for our nation. Islam and peace.
Islam. And thank you for that administrative announcement. Our next administrative announcement will be coming by way of our sister Carla Greenhill. Islam, beloved, you can press star, and you have the floor.
Islam, Brother Deputy Sheikh Cornelius Sanders Bay, all is well.
Islam, Sister Carla Greenhill, all is truly well. Trusting all is well with you and the family. Giving thanks, all is well on my end. Vibrations is strong and clear, and you have the floor.
Islam, and thank you much. Islam family, this is your sister Deputy Sheikess Carla Greenhill from the Masters of Commonwealth. First, I rise to my highest height and give all perfect praises to Allah. I give honors to our ancestors, known and unknown. recognizing and naming all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, Confucius, and the last prophet, and these days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Drew Ali, in his first, second, and third form, extending honors to our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bey, all of our national and local officials, all sheiks, sheikesses, deputy sheiks, deputy sheikesses, all of our children, students, members, guests, and citizens. I greet you all with Islam. Please remain muted for this very important announcement. Peace and greetings. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, requires from everyone desiring to proclaim their Moorish American nationality to fill out and complete an application for Moorish American citizenship and 3-course registration forms for each of the Moorish law and history courses, which I'll explain later. Many people question, why do we have to fill out paperwork and submit copies of our personal documents? This is the reason. We must know who you are, your background, previous affiliations, work history, physical abilities, education, skills, training, etc. First of all, these documents do not belong to you. They belong to the federal government. So you must remember that in their jurisdiction, you are an artificial corporation under civil rights and granted privileges. Secondly, we require these documents because once you are a free national Moorish American citizen, your file will be in the Moorish National Bureau of Vital Statistics, which is set up for each natural person. These documents that you'll be receiving at the time of your naturalization are prepared from these documents. The most important page in the application is the self-audit page. This allows you to make sure you know the appropriate attire to wear during naturalization and are submitting the required documents, fees, and photos. The documents must be clear-colored copies for clarity and authenticity. The photos must be passport size. We use the photos for your nationality and ID card. Please have your national and religious headdress on and write your name on the back of the photos. The application process is reviewed each week because applications are received in the National Register's office either with incomplete applications, no photos, or no documents. If a question on the application does not apply to you, place N/A, not applicable. This lets us know that you did read the question but did not omit it. We must read and follow instructions and learn to ask questions if we do not comprehend what is being said. The second part of the process is enrolling into the Moorish School of Law and History by registering for the 3 courses with the following completed forms. 1. A warning from the Prophet class form. 2. Be it known class form. 3. Nationality and ID card class form. 4. Course rules and agreement form. Visit our website, www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com, and download the application and registration forms. These forms will have the full instructions, requirements, and prerequisites for the classes. Also, mail with your application an updated copy of your resume. You are not paying for your nationality. Your nationality is free of charge. You are paying for the cost of enrolling in the Moorish School of Law and History, just as one pays tuition when enrolling into a college or a university. The costs are also directed to the application processes of the preparation of your documents, as you'll receive these once you've completed the courses. It takes finances to raise a nation, and it takes finances to maintain and operate an educational forum. This concludes the administrative announcement. By way of the Moorish School of Law and History, I return the floor to the moderator. Islam and peace.
Islam And thank you for that administrative announcement. Our next administrative announcement will be coming by way of our brother Michael Simpson Ill Jr. Islam there, beloved. You can press star, star, and you have the floor.
Islam there, Deputy C. Cornelius Sanders Bay. Can you hear me?
Islam there, brother Michael Simpson Ill Jr. I can hear you loud and clear. Vibrations is strong, and you have the floor.
Thank you much, Deputy C. All is truly well with you and the family.
Indeed, beloved, giving thanks, trusting all is well with you and the family, and you have the floor.
All is truly well, beloved. Much honor and gratitude. Deputy C. Michael Simpson L. Jr., calling out of Wayne County, Michigan Republic. First, I'd like to rise to my highest heights, giving all perfect praise to our Mother, Father, God, Allah, to all our ancestors, spoken and unspoken, naming and honoring all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, and Confucius, and our last prophet in these days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, our great Redeemer, Noble Jew Ali, in his first, second, and third form. I also like to extend those honors to our headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland, Temple number 13, our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bay, to all our national officials, sheiks, sheikesses, deputy sheiks, and deputy sheikesses, and to all our family, friends, guests, citizens, members, students, and to our illustrious future, our children, I greet you all with Islam. This administrative announcement is coming by way of our Sergeant at Arms Administration. Warning, if any persons, groups, or companies claiming to represent the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement in North America, Incorporated number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, in any way offering to sell you such things as the application for Moorish American citizenship, naturalization paperwork, nationalization paperwork, trust documents with the Moorish American National Republic's logos, passports, diplomatic appointments, diplomatic papers, diplomatic motor vehicle license plates, driver's licenses, titles of nobility, doctorates or other educational titles, business banking licenses, tax shelters, tax identification cards, or the likeness of any of these, please contact the Moorish National Bureau of Investigation at area code 410-501-7301. I repeat, area code 410-501-7301. Immediately. Violators will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The members and the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated number 13, the Moorish American National Republic are not sovereign citizens, nor Moorish nationals. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated number 13, the Moorish American National Republic is not, I repeat, is not a sovereign citizens movement. This administrative announcement comes by way of our Solicitor General, National Grand Sheikh, Joel Bratton Bay. And that concludes the reading of this administrative announcement. Islam there, Deputy C. Cornelius Sanders Bay. The floor is yours. Islam?
Islam. And thank you for that administrative announcement. Our next administrative announcement will be coming by way of our sister Alyssa Thomas Bay. Islam there, beloved. You can press star, star, and you have the floor.
Islam Deputy Sheikh, glad to hear all is well with you and the family. All is well with me and the family as well. Islam.
Islam, sister. It's always a pleasure to hear your vibrations, and you have the floor.
Giving thanks, beloved. Islam, this is your sister, Sheikh Alyssa Thomas Bay, calling out of the New York, Kings County, New York Republic. First, I'd like to rise. I give all perfect praises to Allah, all of the divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, and Confucius, our prophet in these days and times, Prophet Noble Dwelling in his first, second, and third form. I give honors to our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bay, all of our national officials, all of our sheiks, sheikesses, deputy sheikesses, members, citizens, students, children, and guests. I greet you all with Islam. Notice to the public, let the buyer beware. Caveat emptor. Moors are men upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. They are fortified by the impregnable doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is therefore folly, at its greatest height, for smelly culprits with their insidious plans to invade such realm. They try, but their own bad planning brings down wrath upon their heads, like the sword old Damocles had. Intrigue and scurrilous cunnings find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of the Moors. This is so because the Moorish movement has been well planned by Prophet Noble Drali, whose latent powers are abundant, unknown, and may be called into action as a matter of defense at any moment. Prophet Noble Drali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They are vanguard of the movement as the Moorish hordes increase here in America. All of the Moors are active, not passive. A member's interest can only be in one direction, and having traveled over the road years before the prophet knows where every member is along the road. A few feet below is another road where schemers walk, where traders grin, and culprits bask in the sun. They think they are on the same road with the true Moors, but the Moors are high above on the pinnacle, where they might view the destructionists as they fall for the last time and their bones bleach in the sultry midday sun. Hungry scavengers flying high, catch scent, devour, and leave crying out, caveat emptor, cast out the dead carcass. The Moors high above see these plotters, pervious, the worst that exists, hurl themselves downward by their own works as the hawks await. By Prophet Noble Drali. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic, advises the public with the words of the warning written by Prophet Noble Drali. The caveat emptor article message is the same today in 2022 as when written in 1928. We have been contacted by various natural persons who have sent funds to individuals and organizations. Said funds paying for various documents. Said individuals and organizations have no affiliation with the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic. Be herein advised, the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic, does not sell documents of any type. Again, we do not sell documents. Again, be here notified that said individuals and organizations have no affiliation with our organization, the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic. Some of said organizations have mirrored names which read closely to ours. Therefore, pay close attention to whom it is you are sending your funds, as the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic, carries no liability for funds sent to these individuals and organizations. There may be others, yet the three I'm about to list have repeatedly been cited by those natural persons as the parties to whom funds were sent under guise of sending said funds to our organization. 1. RVB Publications. 2. The Moorish National Republic, the federal government, the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the World, the Moorish Science Temple of America, and 3. Bureau of Moorish Affairs, Moorish State University. We will update this list as necessary. Trust me, the public is advised. Let the buyer beware. That concludes my administrative announcement. I return the floor to the moderator. Islam and peace.
Islam. And thank you for that administrative announcement. Our next administrative announcements will be coming by way of our good sister, Norma Solomon EO. Islam there, beloved. Sister, you can press star, and you have the floor.
Islam, Deputy Sheikh Cornelia Sanders.
Islam, Sister Norma Solomon EO. It's always a pleasure to hear your vibration. Trusting all is well with you and the family, and you have the floor.
Praise Allah, the pleasure is all mine as well, my family as well, and glad to hear that yours as well as all the announcers before me. and Islam to the family. This is your sister, Deputy Sheikess Norma Solomon Eel, calling out of the Bronx County in the New York Republic. First and foremost, I rise to my highest heights, giving all perfect praise and highest honor to Allah, the Mother, Father, God of the universe, giving honors to our ancestors known and unknown, naming, recognizing all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, Confucius, and to our illustrious Hebrew prophet in this new era of time, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, in his first, second, and third form. I remain standing giving honors to our National Grand Sheikh Joel Bratton Bey, to all of our sheikesses, to our sheiks, deputy sheikesses, to our deputy sheiks, to all of our citizens, members, children, students, or any guests that may be on a call this evening. I greet all in and with Islam. First administrative announcement that I will be giving this evening is coming by way of our National Holy Night Conference Call. Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Islam or Muslims, the public is invited to join us in our National Holy Night Conference Call, Friday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you live in an area without a temple, or you are unable to attend your local Holy Night meeting, our National Holy Night Conference Call is here for you. We invite the public and all members to join our National Holy Night Conference Call at 443-961-4434 every Friday, as we celebrate the closing of one creation and the opening of the next. Come and give thanks to your creatress, creator, and exercise your five senses, celebrating and commemorating the divine unity of Holy Night. 443-961-4434 every Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you at our Holy Night meeting. The next administrative announcement is coming by way of our sister auxiliary, Islam. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, is delighted to announce our monthly conference call, which is dedicated to the uplift of Moabitist members of this divine and national movement under the leadership of our National Grand Sheikh, Joel Bratton Bey, and the nobles of our grand body. Our conference call's purpose is to create a network system amongst our feminine energy, showcasing the array of talents we, the sisters in this body, have to offer. We are calling on every sister in our organization to heed this call, partake in this uplifting act, and be an active spoke in the wheel of this Moorish Republic. The Sister Auxiliary is committed to bringing about the positive changes necessary to facilitate the uplifting of fallen humanity. We encourage our sisters to get involved and support this demonstration. The Sister Auxiliary is requesting the help and support of all of our brothers and sisters to donate to our fundraising, Life Pin, Tag Day, and Magnet Celebration demonstrations. Show pride in your movement and support the Sisters Auxiliary as we assist in the uplifting of fallen humanity by donating for a life pin, a tag, or a magnet. All three are designed to inspire, unite, and encourage dialogue about this great movement and our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Jew Ali. This Moorish regalia can be viewed on our website, www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. If interested in joining the Sister Auxiliary or any member wishing to order regalia, you can send an email to sisterauxiliary13@gmail.com. That's SISTERAUXILIARY13@gmail.com. Please make note of your request in the subject line. Please leave your contact information, including your email, address, and phone number. All Sister Auxiliary meetings are held the fourth Thursday of each month. Our next Sister Auxiliary meeting will be held Thursday, March the 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you then, sisters. That concludes the administrative announcements coming from me for this evening. I'll turn the floor back over to the moderator, Islamism and Peace.
Shalom, and thank you for those administrative announcements. At this time, if there's any announcements, any other announcements that need to be given by any of our national officials, at this time, you can press ***, and you have the floor. Islam, there's Sheikh Lawrence Young Bey. It's always a pleasure to hear your vibration, and I'm trusting all is well with you and the family, and you have the floor.
Islamism, all is well with me and the family. Islam. And I hope all is well with you and your family.
Indeed, beloved, giving thanks. You have the floor.
Islam. I'm Sheikh Lawrence Young Bey, National Treasurer and Divine Minister out of the Wayne County, North Carolina Republic. First, I rise to my highest height, giving all perfect praises to Allah and honors to our ancestors. Some we know of, some we don't. To all our true and divine prophets, just to name a few: Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, and Confucius, and the last prophet in these days and times, our Savior, our Redeemer, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Jew Allah in the first, second, and third form. I extend my honors to the forerunner for Noble Jew Allah, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and to our National Grand Sheikh Joe Bratton Bey, and to the Grand Body, to Sheikhs, Sheikesses, Deputy Sheikesses, brothers and sisters and parents and students in our Sunday school, and everyone on the call. I greet you with love and Islam, which means peace, peace, peace. This administrative announcement is to the members, keeping in line with Act 7 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. When mailing your dues payment, please include your dues card with your payment. Make a copy of your dues card and keep it home for your records. Members should not fill in any information on their dues card. Headquarters will make all entries and initial the dues card. Payments received will be automatically applied to any past due balances first until your account is brought current. Officers, sheikhs, sheikesses, deputy sheikhs, deputy sheikesses are required to pay $35 a month, and members are required to pay $20 a month. Also, if you change your address, please indicate so with a note when you mail your dues card. This is so we can update and mark your records correctly. This concludes my administrative announcement for the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, Moorish American National Republic. I turn it back into the hands of our great Deputy Sheikh Cornelius Sanders Bey. Islam, thank you for the time, beloved. Islam.
Islam. And thank you for that administrative announcement, Sheikh Lawrence Young Bey. Appreciate you much, beloved.
Islam. Appreciate you too, Mo. Islam.
Islamism. At this time, if there's any announcements from any of our national officials, at this time, you can press ***, and you have the floor.
Islam.
Islam.
Islam. This is Deputy Sheikh Marie Lee Bey of the Arizona Republic. I do have an announcement in regards to the members forum. First, I'd like to rise.
SubhanAllah, I was just saying, Islam, you have the floor, beloved.
Thank you, brother. First, I'd like to rise to my highest heights and give all perfect praise to the Mother, Father, God of the universe, known as Allah. I give honors to all ancestors known and unknown, recognizing and naming Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, and Confucius, and our last prophet in these days and times, Prophet Noble Drew Ali in his first, second, and third form. I remain standing and extend honors to our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bradman Bey, to all national officials, all sheikhs, sheikesses, deputy sheikesses, to all members, guests, and visitors on this call. I greet you all with Islam. This administrative announcement comes by way of the Moorish American National Republic Members Forum. Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, Moorish American National Republic Members Forum, would like to invite all of our Moorish citizens to come and meet weekly to discuss topics that affect us individually as a nation. The Members Forum is where we can bring our thoughts, ideas, skills, and talents together and work cheerfully in many different areas to continue to build our nation as this world around us is going down. As we all know, the Members Forum is currently being held on Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With great consideration and guidance from our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bradman Bey, it was decided that the Members Forum call should be held on Tuesday evenings. This change will afford members, naturalized Moors, who have not been able to attend the forum for whatever reason, the opportunity to attend and participate on the weekly call. The structure of the Members Forum will remain the same as outlined in the guidelines and protocols. The Members Forum will move from Wednesday to Tuesday, beginning March 8th, 2022 at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Any members desiring to join the Members Forum call can do so by sending an email to the webmaster at webmaster@MoorishAmericanNationalRepublic.com. Please include in your emails the following information. In the subject line, Members Forum Access, the member's name as shown on their naturalization packet, phone contact, date and place of naturalization, color photo of their nationality and identification card. This is the only process by which members can join the call. All participating members are free to share the above information with all qualified applicants to the Members Forum call. The information and conversation shared during our calls are confidential and are to be shared only with those who regularly participate on the call. Once members have been granted access to the forum, please do not share this information with family, friends, or acquaintances, as this is a members-only call. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing you on the members form. Islam, that concludes the reading of the members form and administrative announcement. And I give the floor back to my good brother, Deputy Sheik Cornelius Sanders Bay. Islam.
Islam. And thank you for that administrative announcement. And just to check, if there's any announcements from any of our national officials at this time, you can press ***, and you have the floor. Islam. All right. Well, we don't have any more administrative announcements. We have a total of 39 lines on the call. We'd like to thank you all for your presence and your energies, because you could have been anywhere this evening, but you're here with us, and we definitely appreciate you. And we're going to get into these thought-provoking questions and get some dialogue going. Islam. Our first question on the floor this evening reads, why are we just learning about Moorish Americans in this modern internet age? Where were the Moors during crucial moments in our history here in the Americas? Examples: Jim Crow, civil rights, etc. Islam. At this time, our floor is now open. Islam Sheikh Roy Bey, you have the floor.
Thank you, my good brother. Thank you very much. I want to rise to my highest heights as always, giving praise to Allah, the great God of the universe, who is almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. The universal governor of this world seen and worlds that are unseen. I give honors to John the Harbinger, also known to us as the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, both harbinger and forerunner to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to all true and divine prophets, naming Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, and Confucius. All you Asiatic Muslims on a call tonight, I want to give some honors to Big Brother Joe Bratton Bang, who continues to carry the torchlight and representation of what we stand for. I extend the highest honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the first, second, and third form Islam. Deputy Sheik Sanders Bay, can you just read that back one more time? It was a little long there.
Indeed. The question reads, why are we just learning about Moorish Americans in this modern internet age? Where were the Moors during crucial moments in our history here in the Americas? Examples: Jim Crow, civil rights era, etc. Islam?
Islam, thank you very much, good brother. Well, why are we just hearing about the Moors now? You know, the Moors, historical and contemporary, has never exited the record books. And the Moors were on scene during those times. However, due to the fact that we lost our nationality in 1774 and was classified as Negroes, Blacks, and Coloreds in 1779, we was always here just under a different false classification. And with regard to the internet has helped a great many of people. However, I might say it is not, we are just hearing about the Moors. Maybe some people are just finding out about the Prophet and the Moors and Moorish history. So they may be like, respectfully, the new kid on the block, i.e. Christopher Columbus, just discovering us a few days ago. But whenever you see Martin King and Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad, brothers and sisters like Emmett Till and Fannie Lou Hamer, they were the Moors. They just didn't have the proper knowledge. So as we teach here, Abraham Lincoln demonstrated some degrees that the Prophet could not demonstrate, and the Prophet demonstrated some degrees that Abraham Lincoln could not demonstrate. And so through the process of divine intervention as a part of our salvation, the great God Allah has sent us the Holy Prophet to bring us back into the fold, not just constitutional, but the fold of the family of nations, restoring our nationality and our birthrights and all those principles that we need to re-enter society on equal footing as a nation state. So we've always been here. And as the Prophet Noble Drew Ali had instructed some of the Moors to tell the Garveyites, when the Garveyites said, we got more people than you. And the Prophet said, yeah, but we're going to be here longer than you. But that's because we're an ancient people. And as I said before in the past, we're not a local people, we're a global people. It's just that certain individuals have to now play catch up with our Moorish history to understand that we've never left the scene. And we're going to be here until the sun burns out in the universe. Islam, I yield the floor. Peace. Thank you.
Islam. And thank you for your demonstration, getting the ball started, getting us rolling. Sheikh Roy, appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Islam, Sheikis Alyssa Thomas Bay, you have the floor.
Giving thanks, Deputy Sheikh. Islam, this is your sister Sheikis Alyssa Thomas Bay, re-rising, ever rising. I just want to say a very beautiful demonstration that was put on the floor by our brother Sheikh Roy Bay. He was right and exact. So I'm just going to touch a little bit on the question. First, we got to go back. When you look at the question is talking about where were the Moors around the Jim Crow era. When we think about Jim Crow, those laws began in 1865. It started after the 13th Amendment with the two sections was passed, technically. And from that Jim Crow law and everything that was going on, the Black Codes also was formulated. And we know with the Black Codes, that was to determine how, indentured servants, enslaved people will be employed and how would they work and be compensated, X, Y, and Z. Also, it was the rise of the KKK around that time. That was in 1865, around that time. So our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, was born in 1886, okay? And the Prophet was born, the Prophet and the Moors was on the scene during this time of the quote-unquote Jim Crow era. They were active. The first temple was founded in 1913 by Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And we already know what was birthed from that. We already know what the Prophet did. Some of the things that the Sheikh stated and mentioned. The Prophet brought us our authority. He brought us the ability to come back into the human family. We know what he did through his works, deeds, and his actions. He brought us nationality, birthrights, our divine creed, our religion, Islamism. He made us a nation state. All of these things, And this temple, our temple, has still preserved that structure that Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought to his people. He educated our people. So we have to understand the Prophet and the Moors was here. They were on the scene. They were active. They started businesses. Children were educated. We had schools. We had organizations. We put people in power. So the Prophet and the temple and Moors was always active, educating people about their true nationality, their birthrights, and their divine creed. So I just had to go back for a second. Then we know Prophet Noble Drew Ali transitioned out of the flesh in 1929. Shortly after the Prophet transitioned, I did my research. I remember the stories. Our brothers and sisters were fighting amongst each other, okay? Proclaimed Moors were fighting amongst each other. They were murdering each other. Nobody wants to talk about it, but it happened. It was a power struggle. There was a lot of murders, a lot of people fighting amongst each other. We were divided. Our people were in an array, okay? However, even in the midst of all of that, they were still active. They were still active, From that split, 3 fractions were formed and established. One was under Grand Sheikh John Gibbons L. The second was under Grand Sheikh Kirkman Bey. The third was under Grand Sheikh Emili L. And what people don't realize, during that split and that fight and in that division, the Nation of Islam rised at that time. And during that division between our brothers and sisters, the ones that were tired of fighting and they wanted to get things done, a lot of our brothers and sisters left the Moorish Science Temple and they joined the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam was founded in 1930. 1930, 1 year after Prophet Noble Ali transitioned out of the flesh. We know the history was initially under the leadership of Prophet Muhammad, then the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we know that around that time, the Nation of Islam was extremely popular. To this day still, they're organized and they're prominent. I can't say anything negative about them. They had a story, they had a structure, and people gravitated to it. And they were heavily in the media presence, especially around all the chaos and confusion around the civil rights era. They were heavily in the media presence, and they were teaching and preaching and feeding people and educating children. So those are all the things that people needed answers to around that time. Out of the Nation of Islam, as the Sheikh stated, came Malcolm X, who we knew was making moves locally, globally, and nationally. And he was internationally known. You know, he did his thing. And then we know, dealing with Minister Louis Farrakhan, who I remember my father-in-law used to always talk about when he first saw him speaking for the first time on the Phil Donahue show. That was like back in the 80s, I think 1985 or something. But I remember him raving about how powerful he spoke and how he called the whole family to the TV. And it was intriguing, you know. It was things that people wanted to hear, especially in that time, you know. So they were popular. They were well, heavily known in the media. But at the end of the day, they still are brothers and sisters. They still Moors, whether they proclaim their nationality or not. But I remember hearing or seeing more of our brothers and sisters proclaim Moors like in the 90s. They would make TV appearances or they would be like on YouTube. But when you did see them, you would hear things about driving without a license or not paying taxes, which are not bad things. But those were the things that you would hear about primarily, and those were the things that were intriguing to our brothers and sisters, but it was foreign to the average person, you know? It was foreign to the average person, and people would just write it off as being fraud because they didn't understand that that was possible, and they just weren't even trying to go there. So we were known. And then just to fast forward, you know, the Moors just wasn't known and had a heavy media scene at that time, but they were still putting in that work. Our temple was putting in that work. You know, we deal with a naturalization process, a process of freedom. You understand what I'm saying? We pretty much brought back life to Abraham Lincoln's executive will, the 13th Amendment with 20 sections, and all of these things, these policies, they were made permanent parts of the Constitution, so they must be fulfilled. Okay? We deal with getting under the constitutional form of government. So the Moors was always active. And then we could go back to our Grand Sheikh Richardson Dingle L. and his brother, Grand Sheikh Timothy Dingle L. They established the Moorish National Bureau of Vital Statistics. You understand what I'm saying? And that dealt with a process of registering Moors and much more. So I just say all of this to say that we have always been active. We have never been passive. It's just some people or some movements are going to appear more popular because they're internationally known on a larger scale. And maybe what they're saying or doing is very intriguing, because at the end of the day, feeding, educating people, and taking care of people is a beautiful thing. That is missionary work. That is what you're supposed to do for your community and for your people. So I can't say anything negative. It's just that they were just more prominently known in the media, but we still was doing what we needed to do, freeing people on paper, getting people under the constitutional form of government, getting them naturalized, and correcting their status. And we're going to continue to do that. So with that, I'd like to say Islam and peace.
Islam. And thank you for that beautiful demonstration and add on our Sheikah's Alyssa Thomas Bay. Appreciate
Islam.
you. Love it. Islam, Sheikh Cook Bay. I'll bring you on right after the brother. Islam?
Islam.
Islam, then my good brother Rufus Dean Ill. You have the floor.
Greetings. Blessings to all the Moors on the call. I wanted to chime in and give my 2 cents. And the question is, why are we just now hearing, I guess, about the Moorish movement, so on and so forth? And my response is that this is a divine movement. Certain things had to happen before other things happened. So 1863 had to occur, and 50 years later is the Jubilee year. So I'm not a metaphysics person, and I'm not very versed in astrology or anything like that. But many of us know, as above, so below. We just left an era and a time when the European hid books, hid information, so on and so forth. We are now in the age of Aquarius, and many of us know that this is the time of knowing. Nowadays, many of us, we don't have to run to the library. We don't have to, go through leaps and bounds to find information. A lot of times we can just by a few clicks find the information that we're looking for. So that is my answer. We are in the age of knowing. That's why we are now learning about all the stuff that was hidden, because as those that demonstrated prior to me stated, we've been here. So again, and I'll just say one more time, we're in a new era, in a new time. We are in the age of knowing. We're in the age of Aquarius. So we can access information that we couldn't before, or that was more difficult. So I'll put a period behind my demonstration with that. Islam and peace.
Islam. And thank you for that beautiful demonstration and add on, my good brother Rufus Dean Ill. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam, there, Sheikh Cook Bay. You can start to unmute, and you have the floor. And right after you, I'll be bringing you on, Sheikh Orton Bay. Islam.
Islamism, you can hear me?
Islam, I can hear you loud and clear, beloved. You have the floor.
Islamism. Give thanks, Deputy Sheikh. Trust and all is with you and the family and the little ones.
Indeed, giving thanks and trusting all is well with you and the family as well, my good brother. You have the floor.
Give thanks. Reflection. Yes, this is your brother, Sheikh Cook Bay and family, calling out of Florida Republic. First on the rise to give all perfect praise to Allah, the Mother, Father, God of the universe. Giving all honors to our true and divine prophets, those seen and unseen, those known and unknown. Mainly Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and the last illustrious Hebrew prophet in these days and times, Honorable Prophet Noble Jew Ali, in first, second, and third form. Extending those honors to our harbinger and forerunner to the Prophet Noble Jew Ali, Marcus Messiah Garvey. Also extending those honors, high honors to our National Grand Sheikh and the Royal Staff, the Grand Body, Executive, Legislative, and Judicial, International and National, all members, all national officials, all guests, citizens, children, babies, spectators on the call. This is your brother. Beautiful, beautiful question on the call. I also want to give honors to Sheikh Roy Bay and Sheikh Thomas Bay, and also Brother Dean Ill. If I'm saying your name incorrectly, please pardon me, brother. Powerful Mormonstrations. Powerful, and these are the type of interactions we need to have, these type of questions. But to add my spoke to the wheel, I'm just going to go in. I definitely know my brother Sheikh is coming after with some more information as well. So let's go ahead and keep this ball rolling. All right, let's start with this. First of all, let's get into a little history and some timelines real quick. All right. Why are we just hearing and learning about Moorish Americans in this modern internet age? First part of the question. Well, first of all, we have to understand the internet age officially started January 1st, 1983. Now, prior to this, various computer networks did not have a standard way to communicate with each other. As internet protocols and technology were standardized in the late 1980s and early 90s, universities, businesses, and even the regular average people or the masses started to connect over the internet. So we give thanks to internet age as far as the releasing of suppressed information, as the brother just spoke, the age of Aquarius, which internet age and age of Aquarius actually are connected. This is allowing the truth seekers to research and share the Silami and continue to share, for we are in the age of information, once again, age of Aquarius. And the prophet said, now let's paraphrase, he removed all covers off all secret organizations. Now in the Circle 7, chapter 2, verse 12 to 13, and I quote, we measure time by cycle ages, and negate to every age we deem a milestone. So we on the mile. We on one of the great miles right now. Now, in the journey of the race, an age has passed. The age has passed was the Piscean age, the suppression of information. Now, the gate unto another age flies open at the touch of time. This is the preparation age of soul, the kingdom of Emmanuel, of Allah, in man. I'll say, to me, exercise my five senses, the opening of the Aquarian age was actually in 1913 during the Prophet's Hollow. And in 1927, when he revealed the Circle 7 Quran, and he quote, this paraphrasing once again, he revealed the secret lessons that was kept from the outside world. Now, as far as the second portion of the question, where were the Moors during crucial moments in our history here in the Americas? Examples, Jim Crow, civil rights, etc. Well, once again, like the beautiful brothers and sisters spoke before, we were always here. We are the Moors, the mislabeled Negro, Black, Colored, Ethiopian, Indians, etc. We were just in a dead state, and we were never awake at all. They already had the tombstone written for us. We just came out of physical slavery. The majority of us Moors were illiterate, much less forgot in memory how to do for self, no remembrance of self at all. You look at the timeline, we were freed physically as a nation, nationwide 1865, November 18th. The country was run by the laws of freedom for 3 years, 1865 to 1868. Then you have July 9th, 1868, unconstitutional 14th Amendment was forced on the Southerners. Threat, coercion, threatened to take away seats in government. Now, some of our ancestors at that time didn't know any better. For example, Frederick Douglass, he didn't understand what Lincoln tried to do until later, even though he was a close confidant of Abraham Lincoln. It was not until President Andrew Johnson tried to reawaken Douglass to the policy of freedom and informed Douglass, I will be your Moses. But he refused, which affected all of us. Now we go ahead and skip to the Compromise of 1877, which is another blow in the coffin for us as a people. Now, this is a very deep portion of history. It's called the Compromise 1877. This is the most devastating single government action in the history of so-called blacks in America. That is when a group of politicians convened at the Wormley Hotel in Washington, D.C. to attempt to resolve the deadlocked presidential election of 1876 between Rutherford Hayes and Samuel Tilden. And they agreed that if Hayes was awarded presidency, he would remove government protection of the so-called black ex-slaves in the South and allow the former Southern slave-holding class to return to power. Now, this exact point in history is when Americans, so-called American whites, collectively decided that so-called black emancipation was a mistake, and from that point forward, blacks would never have freedom, justice, or equality in American society. Now, after 14 years of emancipation, the blacks will return to virtual slavery and assigned to permanent political, social, and economic inferiority. Now, what was interesting as well is that these Jim Crow laws, Jim Crow laws, this is a brief definition, were state and local laws that enforced racial segregation in the southern United States beginning in the 19th century and early 20th century. These laws were enacted by so-called white Southern Democrat-dominated state legislatures to disenfranchise and remove political and economic gains made by so-called black people during the Reconstruction period. And they mandated racial segregation in all public facilities in the states of the former Confederate States of America and others beginning in the 1870s. Remember that date, 1870s. Now, Jim Crow laws were enforced until 1965. That's another date to remember. And then you have the Civil Rights Acts of 1964. Now, the phrase Jim Crow can be found as early as 1884. This is the same year of the publishing of The Great Conspiracy from John Logan, one of Lincoln's personal generals, who basically a general who didn't bow, who didn't go against Lincoln. Then we see also 1 year after the U.S. Supreme Court case of 109-U.S.C.3, striking and burying the 3 dead badges of law, right? And with that conclusion, we have to understand and know we had it rough, but we as a people are a spiritual people, sometimes highly superstitious, but we know prayer. And there was a great God, Allah, who heard our cry, and even though when they tried to nail that final nail in the coffin in the year 1900 with the Negro law, or Negro beast, because they failed to fulfill President Lincoln's executive will, the forerunner came to ignite an intellectual, physical spark, and then the Hebrew prophet brought forth that spiritual and divine spark. He made his hollow in 1913, come all you Asiatics and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, for you are not Negroes, blacks, or colored people. I would say at that time, we Moors started to slowly climb out of the graves and realize we were Moors. And with that, I say Islam and life. And I'll go ahead and return the floor to the mighty moderator, Deputy Sheikh Sanders Bey. Islam.
Islam. And thank you for that beautiful add-on, Sheikh Cook Bey. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Sheikh Orton Bey, you have the floor.
Islam. Can I be heard?
Loud and clear, Sheikh Orton Bey. You have the floor.
Islam. All right. I'm going to digress. My good brother, Sheikh Cook Bey, gave a full demonstration. So it's not too much to add to what was already stated by my good brother and prior from my sisters, Sheikh Thomas Bey and my good brother Sheikh Roy Bey, my good brother Rufus. I think that was Rufus. Was that brother Rufus Dean?
Rufus Dean Ill, yes.
Ill, yes. So full demonstrations, like I said, it's not too much to add on. Our National Grand Chief definitely going to put the ice on the cover. But only thing I can share with the Moors is a heavy degree that was shared with many of us being educated by our leader and our good brother, National Grand Chief Joe Brad Bey. The man who controls your habits control you. So if we want to find out any source of truth, Moors, we cannot depend on someone to teach us about us. One has already been divinely prepared and sent to us. We must become our own private investigators. We have to look into this information. We have to investigate it. That's how you make it your truth. The revolution is not going to be televised. You're going to have to go on a divine journey within yourself to redeem that truth and go through those processes. And when you're ready, the information and the teacher, they'll be there, ready for you. So with that, I'll just put a period behind what I stated, but full demonstrations by my good sisters and my good sister and my good brothers. And Deputy Sheik is color green ill too. I think she demonstrated as well, if I'm not mistaken. Islam?
Islam, Sheikh. Appreciate you. All right. We're going to move on to our second question this evening. Our second question reads, what can and should be done in our local republics, cities, counties, etc., with the paperwork received after finishing the School of Law and History and being naturalized that will benefit our people? Islam? The floor is now open for any brother or sister that has any insight on this question. Islam, you can press ***, State your name and where you're calling from. Islam? I'll read it one more time. What can and should be done in our local republics, cities, counties, etc., with the paperwork received after finishing the School of Law and History and being naturalized that will benefit our people? Islam?
Islam.
Oh, Islam, you will speak. That's you, Sheikh or Mbaye?
Well, yeah, was it someone else? I think I did hear someone else though.
No, I heard a background, but in any event, you have it. I just noticed you was talking while I was speaking, but you have the floor.
Okay. Well, that wasn't me. That's what I'm saying. Was it someone else? Because I didn't say anything.
No, not that I
Okay. I thought I heard it too. Okay. All
Islam.
right. Islam. Appreciate you, beloved. Islam Morris. This is your good brother, Sheikh Isaiah Orton Bay, calling out of Wayne County, Michigan Republic. First and foremost, I'd like to rise to my highest height and give all perfect praise to our Mother, Father God of the universe, whom we Moors refer to as Allah, remaining standing and extending those honors to our ancestors, known and unknown, naming, recognizing all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, Confucius, our last prophet in these last days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, the honorable prophet, noble Jew Allah, in his first, second, and third form, remaining standing and extending those honors to all of our national officials at headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland, under the guidance and direction of our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bay, all of our sheikhs, sheikesses, deputy chiefs, deputy sheikesses, our citizens, members, students, family, friends, associates, our beloved children, our angels. I greet you all with the divine love of Islam, Islam, Islam. All right. What could we do in our local republics once we receive our paperwork? Well, first and foremost, we wanna be confident with that what we know. Our prophet teaches us, go to those that know law under an intelligent tone, and they will render you a favorable reply. So that intelligent tone is tapping into that genius citizen, receiving or accepting, coming into that marvelous light, the law. See, many of us being educated through this Christian boarding school system. Remember, Morris, there was a Christian crusade that took place here. We have to understand history, and we have to put these things into context to see the big picture. All right? It's not a figment of our imagination. You must understand that your oppressor is not going to teach you the truth. He will not be able to oppress you. So we have to come to grips with that. We have to accept that. That will help us put things into a proper perspective. So when we are, I apologize more, when we are studying our documentation, being educated, being learned within our Moorish perspective, the Moorish law, our Moorish foundation, our roots within this government, once we solidify and verse within that and confident within ourselves, it's only coming amongst us to go to those in those positions to be of assistance to our people. We have to learn how to communicate. We have to establish relationships. And this is key because within my life, I've seen how Allah prepared me in order to do the things that I'm doing now. Before I came into knowledge of myself, I was a child care counselor. I worked with children. I had to counsel children. So that developed a communication skill within myself to learn how to listen, understand what this child is saying so I can be of assistance, a good assistance to this child's needs. Same thing applies to this day, Morris. We have to know how to communicate and build relationships. I would never been able to assist this child if I haven't established a relationship. If you hear our National Grand Sheikh speak on many occasions about his experience with officials, so it can be done. But the key thing that I always pulled out was he established and know how to establish relationships, keeping lines of communication open. It's not about what you've seen on YouTube. Oh, you don't got no jurisdiction. Blah, 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 blah. No, only a fool gonna argue with a fool. So being educated and having a good leader like our National Grand Sheik to show us the temperament that one must have. And don't get it wrong. These Europeans, they, like the prophet said, they gonna stare death in the eyes. So you may be challenged, but remember, more is the lessons. More is are upright, independent, and fearless. It's not about what you say. It's not about what he says. It's about what the law says. So if we're versed and we know that law, and that law is every part of us, divinely and nationally, the only thing left to do more is make the relationship. Reach out to the mayor. Make yourself visible. When is your next city town hall meeting? Are you going to be there in your all white with your turban or your fez? If it's a few of us in a certain republic, are we going to communicate and unite together and make ourselves seen as a unit? So, again, it's going to be things that we have to do within ourselves. We have to reach out to the mayor. We have to build relationships with the police department, the chief of police. We have to bug them, not harass them, but bug them. Let them know, hey, it's paramount that we have this meeting. I have some documentation that I would like to sit down and speak with you guys about. During these times of COVID, yeah, it may be hard, but consistency is always going to be the key. So if we consistent and we're true about our missionary work, like I see the, what are those called? It says Europeans, they all through our neighborhoods on their bikes, knocking on doors. Doing what? Their missionary work. We don't have to go knock on the doors. More to be powerful in how we're going to do it, we have to go knock on the doors of the Congress, of the Senate. We have to send emails to the senator of your state. Work your way up to the governor. But we have to find ways that we could get our information on their desk and establish meetings. And again, an intelligent tone. But that intelligent tone, more is going to come from us being versed within this law. And with that, I'll put a period behind my statements and yield the floor back to you, my good brother, Deputy Sheik Sanders Bay. Islam, Islam, Islam.
Islam. And thank you for that beautiful demonstration, Sheik Orton Bay, getting us started, getting the ball rolling. At this time, if there's any questions, comments, concerns, or anyone that would like to add on to what has already been stated, the floor is now open. You can press star, state your name and where you're calling from.
Islam.
Islam, Deputy Sheikis, you have the floor.
Islam, good brother, Deputy Sheik Cornelius Sanders Bay. Can you read me the question again so I can have the entirety of the question before I give my demonstration?
Indeed. Question reads, what can and should be done in our local republics, cities, counties, etc., with the paperwork received after finishing the School of Law and History and being naturalized that will benefit our people? Islam?
Islam, thank you, Deputy Sheik Cornelius Sanders Bay. First, I would like to say great demonstration by Sheik Orton Bay. Pretty much covers some of the things that I was going to state. I just would like to camelback on what he said. First, going through the class puts us back in our human status. the class also puts us in line with what the Prophet has asked us to do via Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality. After proclaiming our nationality, this taking our paperwork and putting it on the record in the republic that we live in, it puts that local state entity on notice so that we can be recognized, which the Prophet stated was our main issue, that we were not being recognized. So once we have made that step to proclaim our nationality, put our documents on the record so that they know who we are. They won't know who we are until we step up and say something to show them we're here. You have to recognize us. When they don't recognize us, they become, or should I say, they are now going against the proclamations of Abraham Lincoln, where he states that once we start making the steps to free ourselves, they can't and are not supposed to get in our way. They're not going to tell us the steps to get free, but as we unlock as Allah assists us in unlocking these doors that have been closed off, have had us closed off for hundreds of years, these doors will now become open. Is it going to always be easy? No. So we have to expect some struggle in this process, but there are more Europeans that are waiting for us to stand up and be who we're supposed to be, and they will help. Some of them will help us. Some of them will walk us through what we need to do at any given time. So it is imperative that we take our documentation, put it on the record so that we're being recognized as the Moors who have been here all the time. With that, I'll put a period in my demonstration and return the floor to my good Deputy Sheik Cornelius Sanders Bay. Islam.
Islam. And thank you for that demonstration and add-on, Deputy Sheikis E. Marie Lee Bay. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Islam, is that you, Sheik Roy Bay?
Oh, yes, it is, my good brother.
All right, you'll be the last demonstration I'll take. You have a few minutes before I get ready to bring our National Grand Sheik on. So you have the floor, my good brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you much. I'll just jump right in here because the time is winding down. The Moorish Science Temple of America and all of its aspects and benefits, the theory of the Moorish Science Temple of America was that it was supposed to have been a rehabilitation center to enhance our social status and society via our nationality of our ancient forefathers. The Moorish Code of Law and History is an extension of that, expounded upon the work by which we was further to get the knowledge to go out and demonstrate certain things so we can further solidify our recognition. However, the ultimate aim and goal of all this Moorishness, from the Prophet Noble Drew Ali to John Gibbons L to Grand Sheik Richards and Dingle L, and currently National Grand Sheik Brother Joel Bratton Bay, is really to get the Moors to take their seat in government. Because government is the ultimate goal, one of the ultimate goals amongst many. The ultimate recognition was that we get our seat in Congress. And not just to sit there and to look good, but to start to form our own political perspectives via what the Prophet taught, via what Grand Sheik Richards and Dingle L and all those great brothers and those sisters as well did. This is how we come back and take our place in the affairs of man. This is how we come back into the family of nations. So this is the ultimate aim and goal of everything that has been done and things that are still being done to help us in our condition. See? Because there is a problem with us not being properly recognized collectively all around the country and around the world where people have seen our struggle. So that's what the ultimate aim is, working toward that actual freedom so we can get our place back. The prophet said he's going to leave the European here long enough just to show us how to run government again. The government's already set up for us. We just got to go and reoccupy those seats as we once did when we ruled Spain, as we once did when we came out of ancient Kemet and took that knowledge. So we have the information. We just need more activism and less intimidation, psychological intimidation, because the concept of white supremacy is still working even in the mind of the Moors today. So we're still coming of age, but I'm going to yield the floor and leave it at that. Islam. Peace. Thanks.
Islam. And thank you for that beautiful demonstration and add-on, my good brother, Sheikh Roy Bey. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Well, the time is now 9:01 p.m. I like to thank everyone for their presence and their energies. And at this time, I like to ask everybody to mute their lines and remain muted as I introduce and bring to the floor the National Grand Sheikh of the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, is none other than my brother, your brother, our brother, the National Grand Sheikh Joel Bratton Bey. Islam, their National Grand Sheikh. You can press **, and we warmed up the floor for you. Islam. We have a total of 46 lines on the call. The floor awaits you, National Grand Sheikh.
Islam, Islam, Islam. Thank you, my noble brother. Thank you so much. Am I being heard okay?
Islam, National Grand Sheikh. We got you loud and clear.
Trusting you and the family and everyone else who's on the call. Trusting everything is going well with all of our people. Islam. Once again, very pointed questions, and these type questions are needed for us to really have a sit down and internalize what it is that's going on around us. So we got to understand the question and the answer. So we have it. So pertaining to these questions, and that's why we're going to give the answer. So without further ado, as always, I'm going to rise to my highest height and giving all my love and praise to a God who I love so dearly, so dearly. And that's our God Allah. A-L-L-A-H means all. Love, loving all humanity. Good to know your God. And giving honor to all thy ancestors, those that we speak of and those that we don't. They're so much a part of us, in us, and around us. They're there for us, most really they are. Just ask. And they are there to receive and give you the type of answers you want and what you need. Giving honor to all of the divine prophets, namely Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, and Confucius, and our most illustrious Hebrew prophet is none other than the Honorable Hebrew prophet Noble Drew Ali, who is truly our Savior as well as our Redeemer. Giving honor to all of the Moorish officials and staff, who I greatly appreciate for all that they've done, continue to do, and will do. And giving honor to all the members and all of us noble brothers and sisters who's on this call this evening. I greet you all with love divine. Islam, Islam, Islam. Thank you all so much. Okay, my noble Deputy Sheikh, Cornelius Saunders Bay. So we want a ladder question?
Islam, National Grand Sheikh. Our latter question reads, what can and should be done in our local republics, cities, counties, etc., with the paperwork received after finishing the School of Law and History and being naturalized that will benefit our people? Islam?
Okay, several points of interest. First, I want to applaud all our noble brothers and sisters, our sheikhs and sheikhs, deputy sheikhs and sheikhs, our members, for doing an awesome and a great job in their commentary pertaining to the questions. And it's good. I mean, I like to hear how folks demonstrate because it just enlightened me to such a degree that at least all that we are teaching is not going by the wayside. But these modes are coming back very strong with interpreting the questions so we can get the correct answers. And praise Allah for all of you for sticking to the task and just being you by teaching the teachings of the Prophet and realizing the importance of what your role is for society in Islam. Thank you all much. Well, just adding to what has already been stated. Well, I've stated many times that this is a paper government. And as long as you have the right paperwork, you can get through. So the question is that, once you receive the paperwork, after finishing the school of law and history, being naturalized, what's the benefit? Well, let's see. The way it is now, without paperwork to identify you, so you can be recognized, you're still black, negro, colored in the system. You have no rights that this white man is bound to respect. Even though you have degrees, even though you have a lucrative job, some money in the bank, and you think you're living the life of Raleigh, you're living well, but you're still a negro, a nigger right on paper. But you don't realize the significance of what a paper trail is to truly identify you. And it's so sad because we're not being taught the truth. So this paperwork, and we have instructors and instruction after you complete the courses. We have special sessions where the members can ask questions and get a better feel on what it is that need to be done once they complete these courses. Well, the first thing, when you receive your paperwork, you have to put it back into the system. When I say submit it back into the system, you have to go back to Social Security, vital records, and the motor vehicle. Those three first. Why? Because Social Security and motor vehicles and vital records are all tied in together with certain numbers pertaining to you. And all of them tie into one another. So many of us go into a temple, and even if it's not a temple, people selling all kind of paperwork, and you purchasing cards and other documents to support that you can be a Moorish American. And the sad thing about it, once you get this paperwork, you don't understand what you have. You just all excited to see that you have something that's documented that can substantiate you being a Moor. But you haven't delved into the inner workings of what you have. And that's why so many of us get twisted and tied up when the powers that be come down or some officials start asking you questions about certain things that you can't answer, but yet you should, because you say you this or that and your paperwork's supposed to speak for you, but sometimes you got to learn how to speak through your paperwork to people. And that's where we're falling short. So you go into these temples or wherever and you receive a card of nationality. And you'll obey within that society. But once you get the card, then what? What do you do? Where do you go? You just have a card from a temple in your pocket. But out in society, workplace, etc., you still Tom Jones black man. But you Tom Jones Bay in the temple. So something wrong with the picture. Then if you have children, now so many of us, we come into the temple and get ourselves, we get our titles ill and bay, and sometimes your children, if you haven't got them straight, then they still this Charles Jones. But you as a parent, so should the child be. But so many of us don't even do that. You got the card, but your child is still black in the system, and so are you, because you haven't made the necessary arrangement to make any changes in society, whereby you have to deal with certain agencies, departments, etc., in order to clarify your position. But yet, you haven't done these things because it's really not that important. And a lot of it is because there's a misunderstanding, and no one has really taught you the significance of what the change is, because the change is not going to happen until you make it happen. So, but yet we don't know. So you see how difficult, but yet it's not, when there's a lack of communication amongst the Moorish paradigm pertaining to the national side of a movement. And that's the reason why so many of us have fallen short, because the national side has not been brought to the surface and any of the temples in order for the membership to understand what comes next. But we're charged to do what we're doing. We are. And so the paperwork, once you get it, and you can take it back into Social Security, you have to get your title annexed to your name, and also you have to change your status within the system, because there's no sense of you having a picture ID with a turban affairs and you got your title name, but they still got you recorded or classified as black. Something wrong with that one. So with this paperwork, you have to take the time and talk to folks. Because see, when they see this kind of paperwork, they haven't seen it before. And these people have been lied to also. They don't know what you know. They may know a semblance of it, but the essence, no. And that's why we encourage the membership to really learn what this is about. Read your paperwork. Study it. Make it a part of you, because people are going to ask questions, and you're not going to have books all the time to refer to. So you got to come from the top of your dome with this information. And it's a must that you do, because this is all a part of knowing you. If man or woman say they know, then they must be what they know. So if somebody asks you a question that you don't know, then something is wrong with that one, especially if it's a simple question. So you see the importance of it, and you see the importance of the paperwork. That's why our prophet says in this warning, when he warned everybody back 1920, I'm going to give you a warning, he told the people. I already foresee what's coming down the pike. Y'all don't listen to me. I'm a man of the Creator, a prophet that was sent to all of us to shake and wake us up to what's real. And see, you're being shaken so you can be awakened. And what's shaking you is the paperwork. Certain things that you're doing and saying and demonstrate is making people shake. But they know something about it, but they don't know the in and outs of it. So you're shaking them with what? The paperwork. Because when they read this paperwork, whether it's Social Security, motor vehicles, vital records, or whatever agency that you're dealing with, and business, whether it's education, housing, etc., the whole thing is for them to recognize you. That's why our prophet says there's only but one issue, and that's for us to be recognized, because we're not recognized totally until you make a change in the systems so the powers that be government can recognize you. You can say you're a Moorish American all day long. It's going to fade in the wind. This is a paper government. You got to submit documentation to substantiate you. So this is where we are. This is where we must be. So when the prophet said there's only but one issue for us to be recognized, and it only comes through. Only. Now, he didn't say the Moorish Science Temple of America. He said it only comes through the connection of the Moorish divine and national movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all the nations of the world, and through it your children can receive the birthrights unmolested. So the thing is now, what the people got to understand, the Moorish divine and national movement is the Moorish Science Temple of America. We bring it to the national side. That's why the prophet said you have to be connected. Once you realize the issue that you're dealing with, so you got your paperwork from the Moorish Divine and National, which is incorporated. We're not incorporated like a church, 501c3 up under the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. We under common law, which is your natural birthright, through the Emancipation Proclamation, inclusive of the 13th Amendment, the 22nd, and the prophet's authority. That's where we are. We building upon the teachings of the prophet. That's why it's what? Moorish Science Temple. That's your foundation. Then it says divine and national. Then it's letting you know that this organization, this government is divine and national. And then it's going to give you your territory of North America, all of North America. Our people got to be in this position because we have fallen. And we incorporate to do business, and we come in with a law to validate our freedom, which is what? The law of the 13th. That's why it is the way it is. That's why it connects the way it does, to show you the progression of what this movement is. So this paperwork is absolute. No doubt about it. So, the prophet has said, well, let me go back. Let's just say you in school. You have to take your paperwork and submit it to personnel in school. Even if you're in a hospital, like I said, your workplace and things like this, the people got to know you. They're not going to know of you. See, they know of you when you come to work and they look at your name, Charles Jones Bay, okay. They know of you. But your paperwork get them to know you. Because now you're going to be a conversation piece, breakfast, lunch, and dinner when they start reading the verbiage. They've never encountered it. They've never seen this type of language before. And then they're looking at you in a totally new, different perspective. You're not the same person that they thought you was, this black man. Now they can see who you really are. That's why the paperwork is so important. And look at your children. You got your Moses in school. You better go to that school and have them change your racial designation for that child. But see, people want to see documentation. So once you can present documentation of the parent, then the child falls right into place. But you got to have the documentation in order to facilitate that. So wherever you're doing business, people, it's good to relay that paperwork. Not everything, but just certain documentation to identify you, and so they can recognize you accordingly. Our prophet has said, he said, if I could just get the moles to think, let's get them thinking. And we are great thinkers. We are master thinkers. We are master thinkers, y'all. Really, we are. No one out thinkers. But we thinking the wrong thing. And the reason why we thinking the wrong thing, and that wrong thing is about the money, my woman, my man, my nails, my hair. We thinking the wrong thing. The law of the 13th frees us from this man's clutches. You are going to continue to be a corporate slave under this 14th Amendment, or you're going to stand up and do the right thing according to how your ancestors died for this freedom, and be free according to the 13th Amendment with its 20 sections in conjunction with the Emancipation Proclamation and your free national constitution. That's the three. And you need to really think about it. Think about your conditions as we speak. Day by day, your rights are being taken. Well, they say we have to do this now. This is the law. But you don't know the law that they're using to subject you to this corporate slavery. You don't know. You don't know the law that frees you from it. That's why we're here to wake and shake you so you can see the hope that's in this great organization for the salvation of our people. See, we have to change our way of thinking. And the only way you're going to do that, you got to have a reason to change. So that's what we're giving you. We're giving you the knowledge of self. We're giving you the knowledge of governance. We're giving you the knowledge of your God, your flag, your charter, your land. We're giving you all of that for you to stand tall and really say, I am that I am, and this is the proof. Yes, people. Yes, 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 yes. So that paperwork is crucial, and it's one of the greatest benefits that you ever can receive. Well, it's no good for you to have it in your house, in a frame, on a shelf, hung on a wall, and you still living in society, still black. When they run your picture, when they run your name, it's black. Even though you have Eola Bay, but you're black. Now they're going to say something is wrong, but people, we need to think on what's happening with us. Think on what's available for us. Think on what we must do to make the change. That's where we're going. Seriously. This is the only way, I mean the only way, as the prophet said, the only connection. The prophet made us aware when he said the only connection is through the most divine and national movement. That's the only organization that you can get in and feel comfortable and safe, that the government recognizes. Outside of that, where are you going? What paperwork do you have to substantiate that the government recognizes anything that you're doing? Okay, so you win a traffic case. You know, you get some money back here or there. But that's just one individual. Because when people come in to your particular arena, what do? You give them paperwork, but does the government recognize? Are they informed or instructed on what to do with it? Or is that they just getting some words? Well, here, take this, use this, read that, and it's supposed to work. Now, I'm not dissing no Moorish entity. No, I'm not. Because see, what I look at is always good to see the noble brothers and sisters doing something to try to wake our people up in such a way that to get them to see themselves. But all I'm saying, or what we are saying and doing, is to bring this circle full circle. It's not full until a process of naturalization is implemented, whether you want to accept it or not. That's the law. I'm speaking lawfully, not me talking just to be talking. Speaking law. And if you take the time and see the significance of this law, you'll feel good about yourself. And why wouldn't you want to do it? Because believe me, people, I don't care where you go, what group you in. It's nothing like this one. And that's a fact. But we need help. So many of our brothers and sisters got good skills, got degrees, and they working in a power factory. And the reason why that because they still classified and identified erroneously. But you don't understand. But deep down inside, well, I'm not going to get the job because I'm black. It's double standard. I'm black. But what you going to do about it? What this is giving you a solution. The only solution to rid yourself of this degradation. We're giving it to you through the paper trail. Isn't everything on paper and pen? That's the contract, the written contract. What we don't know, the Emancipation Proclamation is a divine contract that supersedes all contracts because it's divine. And it's about a divine nation of people that has been subjected to all the injustice that man can bestow upon it. But yet they still don't want to listen. Still don't want to listen. Okay. Because you have the will to choose. You really you do. But don't waste your time. Because when the door closes, it'll be too late for you. See, many going to be called, but few going to be chosen. That's a fact. Look at what's going on around you. So many people dying from COVID and this and that. Going to the hospital. You're not all that bad. But the next thing you know, you died. What happened? What did they do? Man, that controls your habits, control you. We don't know what to say. We don't know what to talk about when it comes down to these vaccines. Well, they say we got to take it. I'll lose my job. They say we got to take it. They say, well, who is they? They are in control of everything. The powers that be is the they, because they control the hospitals, they control the schools, they control the police department, the courts, they control everything. But they got the money. This is all about the money. And we are a definite cash cow for everybody, because we want to continue to be called blacks and negroes and colors, etc. Well, I don't want to be a negro. I'm black. I don't want to be black. I'm colored. I don't want to be colored. I'm African American. None of those terms have no substance within life. None of them. But you don't know that. But you got a degree on the wall. Can't you see something is wrong with that picture? So, Mose, the paperwork is crucial. And no one has the paperwork that we have. But it's already been confirmed. Just waiting on you to use it. There's so many things we can do. But as I said, we need help. You know, we're building a nation. How small it may seem to be, but yet it's large. But as you widen your scope and understand what's out there in society globally, you see a lot of our people who've been educated by Rome in these various countries, you know, sometimes it's remarkable to see so many of our brothers and sisters go into these various countries to get educated, to learn a skill so they can take it back to their country and help that country build. But I'm seeing through social media that so many of our people who are Asiatics around the planet are waking up, people. They are. They're waking up. And see, a lot of them had to be shaken to be awakened. And they had to be shaken according to their economic situation or social situation. They're being shaken. And see, we're being shaken according to the economic and social situation here, but we don't know what it is to straighten it out. We don't know what the solution is, but yet we have it. And then you're going to find out this is the only solution globally. Because whatever we do here, people, it's going to snowball. Because the eyes are on the West, which is here. It's on us, whether we want to accept that or not, it is. But see, we're going to do this job, you know why? Because it's already been written. Our God, Allah, is a covenant-keeping God. And he loves his children. And he's going to protect his children regardless of how mighty other folks can be. But see, we have to remember that our ancestry is in the midst. They in the air. The water, the fire, and the earth, they there. Our ancestors are there. And when things get so bad, we will call on them. You can call on them in a small voice and they will listen and do what you ask. But you got to have a good heart, not for nothing devilish. But see, as we've always done, when the people have been disobedient, and finally when they see there's no hope, they always got to call on the Most High. And our Most High is Allah. And our Most High have sent us our prophet to redeem us from our sinful ways. And that's what Noble Drew Ali has done when he brought us our nationality and birthright. So, in order for the world to know, in order for the government to know, we must utilize a paper trail to substantiate your position in society and who you are lawfully. This is the only way out, my good brothers and sisters. Really, it is. Think about it. Think about what everyone has spoken on this floor this evening about this question. And there's so much more to it. You know, we could, all of us who have our spokes in this wheel can bring so much information out, but with such a short amount of time, you know, you try to condense and emphasize certain things so the people can truly digest exactly what you're saying so they can see that picture. But this is a greater picture, y'all. Believe if we don't do this, our children will spit on our graves when they find out we didn't do, or we had all this and didn't do nothing about it, and made them suffer. Now you think about it, because see, reincarnation is a fact. Oh, them old spirits are on us, but we better do right by them. So the prophet is giving you the blueprint to read, to move forward, to satisfy all of our economic and social situations with knowing this truth. Okay, my good noble brother, let's go to the first question, Mo.
Islam National Grand Sheikh. Our first question reads, why are we just learning about Moorish Americans in this modern internet age? Where were the Moors during crucial moments in our history here in the Americas? Examples, Jim Crow, Civil Rights Era, etc. Islam?
Islam, Mo, thank you. That was a stretch question, too. Well, once again, I'm applauding my noble brothers and sisters, the sheiks and the sheikesses and the deputy sheiks and the members for chiming in and demonstrating the answer to the question. Okay, well, I'm going to bring my spoke to add to what they have presented. Let's deal with this. You know, no such thing as black, Negro, colored. We all are Moors by descent nature. Just don't know. And the question is why is that they just beginning to learn about the Moorish Americans in this modern internet age. Well, they've been knowing about the Moors forever. Just that we just didn't identify with them. And in this man's society, the Moor was really strong up until the 1700s, 17th century. That's when everything flipped. And fast forwarding, in retrospect, our prophet, Noble Drew Ali, divinely prepared, sent to us. And when he came, he opened the door, the light of truth. And what he did was put the name Moorish American in print to be recognized as a nation of people and through his divine authority, governance. 1928, but he established the light on us 1913. And see, a lot of our people know that they are Moors, but even though that's the case, they want to be unknown as such. And some want to be known. And when you look at our people, we're a melting pot. And some of us will get by to compromise. So we don't want to reveal that connection. But nevertheless, it is what it is. Now, we've been visual in this man's society for decades. And one of the proofs that we were, and like I said, I'm just talking about this great movement that we are part of, this body. Now, to prove that we were visual and noted, those of you who have the book by Ramani Hill, The Black or the Negro, the Black, the Moor, if you go to page 167, and the news media, now I'm coming this way because of the question about in this modern internet age, how come, more is what known. Well, back then it wasn't no internet. We were just beginning to get computers and things of this nature. But this was back in 1976. Well, if I'm correct, I don't know when the computer started really surfacing. I know somewhere around up in there later. But nevertheless, the news media put us as the head of Moorish science across this nation. It was a news article because our temple was located on Howard Street in Baltimore, Maryland. And the news media said the Howard Street Temple guides Moorish science in the U.S. So, that's very profound. This body guides Moorish science in the U.S. That means this whole nation, the spotlight is on our temple. Why is that? And I'm going to tell you why. Because we teach naturalization. We teach the Emancipation Proclamation. We teach the 1320, the Prophet's true lessons of authority. We teach how to be free. We teach the national side. That's why. Because no other Moorish entity in the country was on this page like we were, and still is. See, the paper trail again, now just see now, this news article is a paper trail. Let's go further. The king of Morocco, King Hassan II, he visited this country, the king. And if you have the Negro, the Black, the Moor, you go to page 187, you'll see the king, Hassan. And you go to page 189, he had a doctor's visit here in Baltimore, the king. And you go to page 191, 192, 193, 194. You'll see our prophet in the third form, Grand Chief Richard Dingwell. You'll see, well, actually, page 190, you see General Hassan. He was the head of the Moorish army. He's on page 190. The brother had a good relationship with the government. We had a parking spot at the Capitol building. Some of us was privy to go underground where the congressmen ride the train and all that. We were doing all of that, Mose. And you'll see on page 193, the King of Morocco requested for us to be a part of his entourage. We had dinner with the king. And on page 194, in the background, you see a fez. That was F. Turner Ill, Sheikh F. Turner Ill, Grand Sheikh. And he was present to meet the Moroccan king Muhammad VI. And this was in 1955. He was an international Moor that the Moors don't know nothing about, that very little that they know about him. But if you go on Google and you put in F. Turner, trailblazer for the Moorish Science Temple of America, you're going to find out some very profound information about this man and his father, because they was with the founder. And the court documents that I have indicates that the founder, this is court documents, wanted them to teach the national side. But there was opposition, just like there's opposition to us right now within the Moorish Rite. But nevertheless, it is what it is, and we're going to do what is necessary to free our people, regardless of what negative element is around. Allah got this. Because why? We got Allah. So there were other paper trails that we have to identify us with government, whether it was Homeland Security, the military, the courts, the Internal Revenue, PEOC, NACP, state and local government officials, embassies. We have a very extensive paper trail to support our position in society and to substantiate our presence in this modern era. It's just that so many of us are unknowing about it. Now, here recently, with such a resurgence of Moors dealing with traffic situations and properties and things of this nature, is becoming national news. So the Moor name has spread across the screen. So everybody chiming in. Because, see, this is an electrified age now. So things can be readily put out there. So we have to realize that in crucial moments, the United States Justice Department contacted us when the Freddie Gray situation occurred here and asked to speak and have a sit down to get our views on the problem and what the solution would be. They contacted us. Four of the agents came to meet with us. They said that we was a noted community leader. So they wanted to get our position on the racial strife. FBI have been. We've met with Homeland Security. We've sent communications, got communication from the Texas Law Center? I think that's the Texas Law Center down there, who have they deal with all the law enforcement to give them information on how to deal with the Moors. Oh, David Duke of the Klan and others. So I'm just saying the importance of what we have been doing. And see, the other thing, the government knows what we are doing, where we've been, what we want. Because why? They have a paper trail from us to them. And they have come to assist us. And even pertaining to the Million Man March, the first one, when Minister Farrakhan, we had all the millions of people. Well, at that particular march, the ministers were supposed to bring forth about the policy of freedom, because we met with him and staff the night before at Howard University. And with other Moorish, well, not Moorish, but other activists there that we met with. But Minister Farrakhan was given the great conspiracy, because one of our sheikhs was on a panel with him to discuss what was going to be discussed for the Million Man March. So the policy was given, but you see, it never was noted. But I'm saying, we've been a lot of places behind the scenes. And so many of you don't know what we've been doing, but the government knows. They know. They just wait for us to get ourselves together. Because they know by them continuing to enslave us, they have enslaved themselves. See, they can't do what we do. They can't. No, people, they can't do it. No. See, now, the internet has made things so approachable, so available for us. But a lot what you see is fake. You get yourself in a whole lot of trouble. But just to bring a little more closure to this, no, we've always been out there. It's just that so many of us just don't know, because you don't see us marching and singing, "We shall overcome." We work behind the scenes, and we've already overcome. I remember I was in a court setting some time ago, and this particular state official said, "Bratton Bay, won't you just give up? You can't win." I turned to this gentleman and smiled at him. I said, "Please." I said, "Sir, we've already won." I said, "You better go to Gettysburg and see for yourself." I said, 7,000 of us died in a half hour. We were the ones who won that Civil War. And I just stared at him, looking dead in his eyes. He dropped his head and turned and left. So we've won our freedom, people. You just don't know the laws that freed you, because if you did, we wouldn't be in this condition. All the perks that a free man is entitled, we have. But you don't want to be free. So check it. Now, our articles of incorporation expresses to the government when they read what we want and what we want from them, such as our articles of incorporation is a for-profit corporation, and the purpose of the corporation is to conduct business and bring about the nationalization of all the land, finance, compensation, or reparations that are due under the ownership of the Moorish American nation, making the United States government responsible for our operation, colonization, and compensation to be complied with in conjunction with Section 17 of the 13th Article of Amendment 20 section, and the 3rd Article of the Compensated Emancipation dated December 15, 1862. Now, what Moorish entity do you know is on this page? Having articles of incorporation to substantiate your freedom, because this is the incorporation part. Then the prophet teaches us that there's only but one issue, and it only comes through the connection. So these articles, people, are connecting us back to the governance that we just set up, not just, but as it was, not as it is, but as it was before. These articles are taking you back there to those first 7 articles. And we letting the government know that, hey, we see you, and we're coming after you, and this is what we want according to law, because this is our birthright. See what the people don't know. When our prophet in this warning said if we were freed ever since the Free National Constitution of 1774, there was no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendments. He left out the 13th. This is what it is. I said earlier, our freedom is predicated on the law of the 13, because that's the law of freedom. That's the only law, inclusive of your free national constitution, etc., to substantiate your nationality and birthright. If these laws are not in place or not enforced, where do we go? Do we continue to go in this man's circle of confusion and deception? Where are we going? The law is what we must think about and demonstrate and live the life. Because it's your birthright. Now you have a lawful mechanism to run this man crazy when we all have that voice of freedom. So see, you can say you're free, okay, but if you don't have no law behind it, what good is the word? See, this law is not just man's law, it's God's law. Because we his children. And this is the proof. Did it not say in this law of freedom, section 1, that we have the right to worship God according to the dictates of our own consciousness? Our prophet Noble Drali brought us our own consciousness when he brought us our nationality and birthright. Know thyself and your father God Allah. But you don't want this. These are laws that we must follow that is divine. The government knows it. That's why they made law of the Bible. This whole process of freedom is scripture law according to your birthright, according to your divine lineage. That's why when they debate our slavery on March 31st, 1864, they said there's only but one remaining law. So this 13th article with 20 sections refer back to the only remaining law, which is what? The Hebrew/Levitical Code. That's the only remaining law to deal with this black situation. They're going further with these articles. I'm skipping certain things. But check this out. Our article says that wait, where is it? This is my page. Okay. We issue charters. We suppress all conspiracies hindering the implementation of the 13th Amendment 20 seconds, according to what section 16 of that amendment, which says all conspiracies in any state to interfere with lawful rights in any other state or against the United States shall be suppressed. So that's where we are. See, once you present the right paperwork, they don't suppose to repress it. They're supposed to honor it because it's already been confirmed through their government system of paper, of documents. It's already been confirmed. But see, they don't suppose to suppress us in any effort we make toward our actual freedom. So see, they didn't tell us that we was actually free. They just said, Negro free. You free, go. This wasn't demonstrated, even though our noble Sheikh Cookbay was saying, when Lincoln passed off the scene, his vice Johnson, we got the documents. But Johnson called in all the preachers, Frederick Douglass and all of them, just like they do now. When anything happens in society, the government always call the preachers, the clergy. They come in. So the title of the document is called the Colored Delegation. And Johnson said, look, I'll be your Moses. I'll lead you to the promised land. The Negroes hold. No, they don't want to do that. They didn't want to leave white folks. Johnson, in so many words, cussed them out. Because he said, here it is, you got a chance to get from under all of this, set up your own nation, do your thing, and you don't want that. That's what's going on now, people. The Congress could have spoke about all of this. In 1992, the European Senator Helen Bentley put the 1320 back up on the floor of Congress in 1992. In 1976, we petitioned the Congress for the redress of our grievance about the implementation of the 1320 and our family names. All that's congressional record. All of that. People don't know nothing about what we've been doing. So when Miss Bentley said that, she said, babe, I'm going to do my part, but you got your own people here, have them move it. Couldn't them Negroes to do nothing. They was afraid of the great white father, saying they would lose their job if they came with this. And that's what happened. Our own people will suppress this. They have no faith in it. They like rubbing noses with the great white farmer and the great white woman. So they're going to keep this out of whack. They don't want this known. You know? They don't want this known. So you see, we some of our worst enemies. And then our articles indicate too that, check this out, y'all. It says that it's imperative I put it this way, it's the imperative for the maintenance of the public peace that our organization works in conjunction with the governor of the state of Maryland, Secretary of the Mental Health and Hygiene, and other state agencies, as well as the federal government, to mandate a national proclamation and general registration for the purpose of having naturalized all persons of Moorish descent who are otherwise improperly known as Negroes, black, colored folks, etc. Y'all see that? Now, this is what these articles represent. This is what these articles represent. And you don't think that's a good thing? And it also says that we are advocating the compensation. We're advocating, it says Congress may appropriate money and otherwise provide for the colonization of free Moorish persons with their own consent. Now check it, their own consent at any place or places within the United States, but y'all going in your pocket, paying all this money for a mortgage. But the law says you can colonize anywhere, and they got to provide for it. But you don't want that. And we also have in our articles this: to resolve the so-called Negro black dilemma within the state of Maryland and every state etc. And then we give them the remedy. We said the legal basis for the above remedial action is in accordance with what? The Levitical Code. People don't know where this code is. They never heard of it before. But the code is on top of the Liberty Bell, Leviticus 25:10. That's why it's the code. The Mosaic Code. You heard of the Moorish Code? The Mosaic Code. That governs the planning for all of our people, all of our brothers and sisters who's in the house of Israel. Whether you north, south, east, or what, that covenant, that law governs it all. Because we the same people, just different tribe people. We from the same stock, the stock of Abraham. Don't forget it. The real stock. Oh, yeah. So see, all of this is what we do for our people that you don't know nothing about. And there's more to it. I'm jumping around. And our brother, Chief Cookbay, made reference to Jim Crow. But that's part of the question. That's supposed to be an example. What are the Moors doing in crucial moments in our history, in the Americas? Jim Crow. Well, let's see what Jim Crow is all about. A lot of us just hear the word. We don't know what it's about. Add to what the sheep was saying. Let's see. Jim Crow was the stage name of a popular minstrel performer named Thomas Daddy Rice, who smeared himself with black makeup and ridiculed black people for an appreciative white audience. The name also represents a system of American laws enacted after the Civil War to control the emancipated ex-slaves. The term Jim Crow softens a harsh and violent system of repression established not to keep blacks from using white drinking fountains and toilets or even to stop them from breaking the law, but to keep blacks, here we go, y'all, but to keep blacks from accumulating property, starting businesses, engaging in trade and commerce, and establishing an economic base independent of white folks. See, they are afraid of you. They know of our greatness. They know of our determination. They tried everything to kill us off. It ain't gonna never happen. Our God say, but He put the seed in us. As you look in the sky and see the stars, you can't be able to count them. That's how many we are. There's no count for us. They've tried everything, but we special folks. So continue about this Jim Crow and see these people are ruthless. So let me continue. So they said the functional intent was to force free blacks back onto the plantations to perform the same roles they had been forced to carry out for the previous 310 years. Now check it. That penal system, they privatize it, and they on the plantation, corporately in prison. But the law says involuntary servitude shall never be tolerated or established in any other states, and we are forever free. But you see, we in them joints. You understand? We in those joints. Involuntary servitude. Oh, yeah. So continue with Jim Crow. Then they indicate that the laws against the Jews in Nazi Germany, in effect, for a few years could not compare. Now check this out. Now they talking about the Holocaust and da-di-da-di-da. But what they did to us, they're saying that the laws against the Jews in Nazi Germany, in effect for a few years, could not compare in their scope of viciousness to those that applied to blacks. Under American freedom and democracy. See, that democracy is going to chop our necks many, many times. The laws were unambiguous. Blacks could not be employed in any jobs other than plantation labor without a specific license granted by a judge. If a black worker left his job for any reason, including employer abuse or unpaid wages, he could be arrested and put on a public works project clearing forests, draining swamps, or building roads, bridges, railroads, or canals. Blacks were prohibited from buying or renting farmland except in designated all black but white controlled areas. Blacks could be barred from entering whole towns or allowed entry only at designated times with a pass stipulating specific activities. Boy. So-called vagrancy and idle laws were established specifically to ensnare any black person who was not on a plantation or headed to one. Children as young as 3 could be involuntary apprenticed to a plantation if a judge, often acting on behalf of the planter, found the parents to be paupers or vagrants. Children as young as 10 could be forced into labor contracts with planters, and when protective child labor laws were passed in the early 1900s, they explicitly excluded black children. This is just a small sample. These Jim Crow laws put in effect across America legally re-enslaved the most productive people on earth while eliminating them as economic competitors of whites, the denial of credit, bank loans, or insurance, the refusal of white wholesalers to supply products to black businesses, the violent denial of education for blacks, the discriminatory real estate practices, the police repression, the denial of access to political arena and the court system, the periodic massacres and terrorism. Those were just some of the Jim Crow practices that took racism far beyond relatively benign images of restricted bus and train seats, drinking fountains, and lunch counters. Whites reap incalculable financial benefits from America's deep-rooted racial and restrictions. Now, Abraham Lincoln said this: as the Negro is to the white man, so is the crocodile to the Negro. Ooh. And as the Negro may rightfully treat the crocodile as a beast or a reptile, so may the white man treat the Negro as a beast or a reptile. Well, the law we know about, Negro the Beast, Act of Congress in the year 1900 was the year when the government was supposed to fulfill our actual freedom by naturalizing, colonizing, and compensating us by the year 1900, because that was a divine contract from 1863 to the year 1900. It's 37 years. We on the dime. So they didn't do that. So look at us now. And that's why our noble prophet said we must enforce the law to save the nation, y'all. You can see the importance of what this really is and what needs to be done for the salvation of our people and this planet. Because believe me, if we don't do what we've been called here to do, I can't imagine the wrath that's coming. But see, these Europeans, I've told them this. I said, think not, bold man, that your punishment is delayed and the arms of Allah has been weakened. Our God winketh at everything you do. And if you don't let us go, the forces of nature is going to bring woes upon mankind. Too horrible to contemplate. And all the riches and wealth that you think you have going to be gone in one short hour. And you're going to curse the day. And damn the hour that you was ever born if you don't let the people go. They got all of this, what we teach and preach, y'all. They do. Trump, Obama, from Nixon, all of them got, all the presidents that been in the seat, we've been there. They know. Even when we amended our articles in 1997 here in Maryland, do you know Clinton sent his comrades here to do an executive will dealing with human resources, we, the people, human resources? The same year that we went into the Republic, why would he have to come here to Maryland to do that? Same year. I think it was the following month. But you see how they working? But see, I don't care what they do. There's no law, heaven or hell, that supersedes divine law dealing with the Creator's people. They have no law to supersede what we have. They don't. But you don't believe it. They don't. And they know they don't. But they recognize Noble Drew Ali. The government does. They do. They recognize him. They know he's our prophet. But they also know that we're stiff-necked people. And whatever the great white father say they're going to do. But see, like I said, one way to be born, that's 1,000 ways to die. They keep messing with this one. See, they can't continue to say our prophet is a liar. They will never tell you, no judge will never tell you that our prophet is a liar. All you got to do is ask him. I guarantee you he will never say that. I've done it many times. They ain't going to do that. Because they know we right. But they know what they've done to us too. But they created that Negro mentality. They did. That's why I said by them continuing to enslave us, they have enslaved themselves. We are their salvation, people. We are. We the salvation for the planet. But you don't see it. You really don't. But in this electrified age, as our prophets say, things are moving fast. And when things move fast, they don't last. So we got to get prepared because it's coming. So, let me see. Is there anything more I need to add to this? I trust that what everyone has spoken on this question and my portion, we can bring it all together and see the importance of what this is and why we need each other. But we need to think lawfully. Represent the law and be it. See, this is divine law I'm talking about, not man's law. Honor our fathers and mothers, for our days be long upon the earth land that the Father God has given us. And the only way you can honor them, you got to proclaim your nationality. Go through that naturalization process so you can give unto Caesar the things that Caesar and give unto God the things that God. Give his name back so the man can pay you. That's the only way you're going to get paid. We property. The law said you can't take a person's property. That's the Fifth Amendment. You can't take a person's property without just compensation. The Fifth Article says that. So you see, where are we at? What we must do. We've been doing this for a minute. Going to continue to do it until this law is manifest, people. But we're on our Lord's time. His time is right, and we can't measure that time. But we know we in his time, and that time is right. So the thing is, we better get right. Yes, we better get right. So with that, my noble brother, Deputy Chief Cornelius Founders Bay, I'm concluding my demonstration for the evening. I'm zipping my lips. So thanking everyone for the time and the patience and the participation. And just realize, Mo, we just got to clear the cobwebs and get to thinking properly. Think about being free. Think about what law to use to substantiate the freedom. That's why I said, comes in the three. To set you free, make you free, and keep you free. So with this policy of freedom, you're going to learn what laws set you free. And once you get an understanding of what laws set you free, then you're going to learn how they made you free. And once we continue to be on that path, we will stay free. We will stay free because now we know. Man, a woman say they know, they better be what they know. So now we know this is all about knowing that truth. That truth. So thank you, Mo. Everyone else, I leave you in love divine. Islam, Islam, Islam. Thank you.
Islam. And thank you for summarizing our call and bringing it full circle and sharing your wisdom and giving us the jewels as you always do. The National Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, is none other than National Grand Sheik Joel Bratton Bey. Islam there, National Grand Sheik. Appreciate you much for all you have done, will do, continue to do, and haven't done yet. Love you much, National Grand Sheik.
Thank you, Mo, and likewise, Mo. Be safe in the family. Thank you much.
Islam. All right, my good people, we come to that time where we're going to begin to close out the same way we open, but you can always catch us here next week's creation, same time, same space. But at this time, we're going to close the same way we open. So can I please have everyone who is able to stand erect, facing towards the east, heels together, toes apart, separated at a 45-degree angle, upper arms parallel to the floor, forearms perpendicular, 5 fingers erect and together on the left, and 2 fingers erect and together on the right. Allah, Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Ameen. Trusting everyone has a safe rest of the week. Keep safe, stay sane. Until next week's creation, much love and peace, peace, peace. Go in peace, Moors.